From the newsroom of the Bryant College Station Eagle, this is the Brazos Sports Prepscast. And now, the Eagle High School sports team, Alex Miller and Jake Weiss.
Hey everybody, this is not Alex Miller, this is Jake Weiss. I'm hosting a, should we say it's a special episode of the Brazos Prepcast?
I guess.
Maybe a little. Maybe
a little bit. Welcome back to the Brazos Prepscast, everybody. If you remembered last week's episode, if you're a loyal listener, you remember I was going to high school volleyball action, so I did not cover a game. So right before we started, I said, hey Alex, shouldn't I host this week? And he said, well, why don't we see? Let's see how it goes. So that's what we're going to do this week. So joined always by Alex Miller, Eagle, kind of the Eagle do-it-all guy. And then Andrew Tinio as well, Eagle sports writer as well.
Yeah, Ironman athlete, one might say. Alex Miller is an Ironman, just doing anything and everything.
That's true, too. So, guys, we're back. It's the area round of the playoffs. If the math's correct, we're down to just 9 teams left in the Brazos Valley.
Ooh, yeah, we got cut in half last week. I think we had 18 going into the bi-district round. Now we're down to 9. Consol, College Station, Brazos Christian, St. Joe's, Madisonville, Franklin, Lexington, Centerville, and Bremond. There's some tough games this week, though.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think one we'll start with, A&M Consolidated Fulshear, a rematch from last year, especially in the same round, area round as well. Fulshear won that game 50-38 last year. I covered that game last year, and I remember Consol got down big, came back in the third quarter, rallied to outscored Fulshear 21-0 in the third quarter.
Yeah, weren't they winning?
Tied the game up.
Tied the game up. Okay.
Then Fulshear scored 2 touchdowns in the fourth. That's how we got to that final. Because Andrew was asking me, you were asking me about it yesterday in the office. Fulshear, man, they're tough. They're legit again.
They're really legit. They're in the top 5.
Yeah. I would say I probably kind of understated it there. They're 11-0, one district 10-5, 10-5-8-1, ranked in the top 5 like you mentioned. They've got Davion Goodley, who I think's back from last year at running back.
Yeah.
Real impressive, over 1,600 rushing yards, 16 touchdowns. Excuse me, let's say 6. That's not right. And then Patrick Broadway, he's kind of a 1-2 punch there. Patrick Broadway's got over 1,000 rushing yards, and 10 touchdowns. So Consol gonna have their hands full. Though I will give them credit. You know, we've seen the Tigers. You and I were just talking about this, Alex. We've seen this Tigers team. They've gone up against some good runners and shut them out. The big one I think of is Andrew Petter over at Georgetown.
Yeah.
I think he was held less than 100 yards and just 1 touchdown. So Tigers, they got some claws against the run game if we're sticking with the Tiger theme there.
Yeah, you know, it really seems like Fulshear's going to want to run the ball a lot. I mean, this is a run-oriented offense. They can throw. Don't be deceived. But I think it could play well into the hands of Consol if they can kind of figure out what Fulshear wants to do. You know, they've got the tape from last year, right? And some of those key guys coming back. I'm sure Trace Meadows wants another crack at that Fulshear offense. You know, this isn't a slot tee, wing tee, flex bone that they've seen the last 2 weeks, though. But, hey, certainly doesn't hurt when, the last 2 games you've played, the other team you know is going to want to run the ball. And so they're trained pretty well against it. I wasn't at the game last week, but, man, tale of 2 halves for Consol in that game against Wagner. It really seemed like just the light switch went off at halftime. They must have done something to regroup. Coach Robertson figured it out, got his guys in place, and I mean they took it to Wagner in that second half. You know, Andrew, you were out there this morning.
I was.
What were some of the sentiments among the Tigers heading into this matchup?
Tuesday morning practices have basically been my weekly routine at this point. How often? I think it's been like 4 weeks in a row I've been out there to the practices. I know it's a cliche saying, but it just feels like week in and week out, the further we go, a more quiet confidence ensues. It seems like this week hit maybe like a peak of just there was a bounce in the step, there was more veracity during practice, and I get it, it's practice, but there has to be something to be said about the confidence and the energy that they have regardless. I wasn't here for last year, but I will say based off of what I've heard from last year and what I see this year, I don't feel like this game's comparable compared to last year, especially with the new defensive scheme. I think Consol really has a chance to win up front. That's what their stable has been all year long, and that could go a long ways if they could win up front. Now, tackling these running backs is another thing, but at least they can then win at the line of scrimmage if Trace Meadows can get in the backfield, some blitz packages. I think this game will be much lower than 50-38 like it was last year.
Yeah, this is a really hard game to pick. I mean, not picking Fulshear seems kind of dumb because they haven't lost this year and they won last year, but man, the way Consol is playing, it makes me really want to pick the Tigers. I still haven't decided who I'm going to pick in this one, but I could see it going either way. I think regardless, it's going to be a fantastic game on Friday, and whoever ends up on top, they will have earned that victory when it's all said and done.
We'll kind of shift gears a little bit. Alex, you'll kind of take center stage on this one because it's a game you were at. Well, you were at here at this game last week. It's College Station. We're going across town. College Station hosts Magnolia on Friday. Second straight home game for the Cougs in the playoffs. A little bit of a similar story here with College Station and Magnolia. Another team kind of that likes to run the ball in Magnolia. And, hey, College Magnolia. College Station's got to go up against Magnolia's kind of do-it-all stud, Hunter Andrews. He's committed to Utah, but A&M's, they're looking at him. They're pursuing him. I know, Alex, you're the Aggies guy here. They're a little busy right now, but recruiting
they're trying to find
stops.
somebody else right now.
Exactly. But recruiting never stops. So, they're not out of the hunt there.
Yeah.
So kind of curious, we all know, we've seen College Station, man. They're pretty good against the run. They're pretty stout. They do kind of give up a couple big pass plays. I'm sure the Cougs don't want to hear us say that, but they've a little susceptible to the pass. So a little curious if Magnolia kind of wants to air it out. Alex, you were out there last week at the game against Champion in the Bye District. What did you see from the Cougs?
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty classic College Station game, right? They spread the ball around. It was a little wet. I think the rain might have affected things a little bit in that first half. Third quarter, though, they really started to pull away. Bernie Champion gave them a fight, though. I mean, that's a good team. And, if there's a weakness to the College Station Cougars, it's in the secondary. They have been prone to give up big passing plays this season. And that's really what Champion tried to do was go and hit the downfield passes, and they got quite a few of them. But the problem was Champion's accuracy was not enough. And when push came to shove, the College Station defense made some really nice stops down in plus territory and came up with a couple of big interceptions in the second half. And so, Magnolia, they are a team that wants to run the ball. They want to get that ball to Hunter Andrews, and yeah, he's going to be tough to stop. But you gotta think College Station likes to that favors where their defensive strength is, stopping the run. And so I'm definitely curious if Magnolia will try and air it out a little more than maybe they have throughout the rest of the season. It should be noted, too, that Aiden Martinez-Brown was kind of limited in that second half. I don't think he played at all. Not really sure what held him out exactly, but it was enough to keep him sidelined. But, hey, Wilson Stapp, Connor Cashin, they stepped up and did big things. Arrington Maiden made some big passes on kind of a wet night. So, College Station's, they have a deep rotation at running back, but I'm sure they'd like to have Aiden Martinez-Brown back and healthy in a big game like this. I mean, when he's on the field, it's a home run threat every single time he touches the ball.
And not just in the run game either. I mean, he might have more receiving yards than I'd have to go back and look, but he might. It's real close.
They get him involved in their screen game a lot.
Yeah.
Whether it's out of the backfield and they motion him out to each side, split him out wide, kind of run a quick screen or a tunnel. They know how to get the ball to their playmakers. Yeah. Bobby Petrino's got that feed the studs mentality, and Stony Pryor's got that too. So
I want to ask this because I think I've only been to one game with Lander Glenn a month ago, and it seems like it's been every other week I kind of ask this. You mentioned a weakness was in the secondary. Another weakness that I've seen this year is special teams. Do you all feel like that's gotten any better with the kicking game, with allowing, limiting big returns? Has that been something you guys have seen? Has there been improvement there? Is that an area that could be another problem against a team like Magnolia.
Yeah, punting has been a little bit of an issue, but hey, tip of the cap to Cade Corcoran last week. I mean, he really, was able to direct where his punts were going and kept Bernie Champion from returning things at a good distance. And then it should be noted, too, Trey Stastny didn't play last week, College Station's kicker. So Gustavo Lopez got the nod all the way around, and that guy can kick the ball. So I think that's a fair point, Andrew, that, College Station, as they get deeper and deeper into the playoffs and they're playing better and better teams, if they have the chance to keep advancing like they hope they can, they're going to have to play a complete game all the way around. And, yeah, special teams is definitely a critical part of that because they can't give up the kickoff return for a touchdown or a punt return that gives short field or have bad punts that gives the other team good field position. When they're playing really well on offense and defense to really complement those things. But hey, on the flip side, some of those strengths on offense and defense, it can make up for a little bit of a lapse on special teams, especially down at the high school level.
For sure. Okay. Sounds
Hey,
good.
Alex said it all there, folks. I think we'll switch gears a little bit. I'll let him take that question. Switch gears a little bit. Look at a couple more matchups. We got Brazos Christian. They're going to have their hands full with Lubbock Christian.
Yeah, they will.
This is a team they lost to in the state semifinals last year. Don't get to meet them in the semifinals this year. Hey, got to meet them in the second round, so not an easy one. Folks, Alex wrote for show notes here, but there is a fun trivia question, so I'll give it just to Andrew.
Oh, no.
Long trip to Brownwood ahead this Friday for Brazos Christian, Andrew. Do you know who the stadium's named after?
I do not have a singular clue, and I'm not even going to guess.
Do you know,
Sorry.
Jake?
I do not know. I was hoping it would be on the paper. Was hoping the answer would be on the paper, but
Come on, Jake. I give you the same paper. I'm not just going to give you the answer.
I was hoping it would be. So enlighten us, Alex.
Okay, so Brownwood, historically very strong program, once led by one Gordon Wood, tied for winning the most state championships in Texas high school football history. How many?
21?
21?
6.
That's Price is Right. We're going with Andrew. It's 9.
Oh,
Holy cow.
You made it
21,
sound like-
Jake. This is not Alabama, my guy.
You made it sound like you just,
Hey, no. Getting to play in a historic place, though, that'll be a cool thing for them. Just a little bit of fun little trivia. I love fun little facts and trivia. But Gordon Wood, one of the most winningest coaches, esteemed coaches in high school football history here in Texas. So, this is going to be this is probably one that Brazos Christian has had circled, though, and one that they're looking forward to. Lubbock Christian skunked them last year.
Yeah.
It was not a game, and Brazos Christian had a lot of hope going into that one. That, hey, I think they knew they were the underdog, but they had a thought that they could play a 4-quarter game and try and win it in the end, but it didn't happen that way. So the Eagles know they're going to have to give their best shot if they're going to go and make the semifinals for a second straight year. And they probably have a lot of respect for how good this Lubbock Christian team is. We'll see if Coach Washington can cook it up again and let the boys do their thing.
Hey, they've been playing with confidence. I saw.
Yeah, they have.
I saw that clip of Brody Gardner running it back, big man touchdown. I was like, okay, hey, you might need a couple of those against Lubbock Christian, but hey, they've been playing confident football. I know Waco Riker, was winless, but hey, they looked good in that first round matchup, and they've looked good. Last 5 weeks? I'd say. I think they've won 5 in a row now.
And they played a really hard schedule in the non-district. They played teams in bigger classifications. They played some really good schools. I know they didn't win all their games, but I mean, they've been battle tested, and so this is going to be another huge test on Friday night. See if they can make it a battle out there in Brownwood.
Hey, another team that's got a big test, and it's another rematch too. Madisonville, Belleville area rematch, folks. Doesn't get much better than this. Just a reminder for those that don't remember, Madisonville won this game last year. Big upset, bit of a barn burner, 9-3. So a lot of firepower in that one. No, but man, the special teams. You talk about special teams at College Station. that's a game there where you thank your kicker, give him a big old hug, and say, hey, man.
Well,
thanks for
Madisonville
doing
had
what
that
you do.
really good kicker too.
Yeah,
I
no
can't
kidding.
remember his name, but I mean that guy was good.
Yeah. Gonna be another. Go ahead, Andrew.
No, I was gonna say Madisonville. I do want to put on the record they were my sneaky under the radar team last week when we had the show. They looked really good against LaGrange, and I think they did it without Johnson, right? Or Johnson didn't play very much
Lorenzo
of that.
Johnson
yeah,
didn't
Lorenzo
play?
Johnson. He didn't play much of that game, and they still put up 50 something. So I've got confidence in the Mustangs, and I'll kind of echo what I said last week. I really like their offense, and their defense has been pretty consistent. So I like the odds.
Well, hey, that defense is gonna need to step up this week, Andrew. So because they got to shut down Belleville's run game.
Yep.
Belleville's got 3 guys with over 1,000 rushing yards and 19 touchdowns. That's pretty
Jeez.
good. So
That's ridiculous.
they need to have that
That
kind
is.
of confidence from you, pal.
Yeah.
I gotta say though, looking at Belleville's schedule, well, Alex, once again, you put this note down, but looking at Belleville's schedule though, this might be the best team at Madisonville. Madisonville might be the best team they faced on their schedule this year.
Yeah, I think this one is probably going to be a little more high scoring than last year. I could be wrong. I do think the Mustangs have the horsepower to keep up with the Brahmas, though.
There we go.
So, all pun intended there. Belleville, though, their home field is known as the Pasture of Pain. It's been a pasture of pain for a lot of different teams that they've played this year. This is a Belleville team with high hopes. Madisonville, they're sneaky good. Coach Urbanky's team, they can give teams grief. I mean, they very could have beat Waco Connolly a few weeks ago, and so this is a hard game to pick too. Madisonville won last year. Belleville's been just about inevitable this season, but I think once again this is going to be a really good game Friday night down in Klein.
Well, down in the 3A level, we got Franklin. The Lions, man, they did their thing last Friday. That was Morgan's, I think, that was her team she had the most confidence in, and sure she has confidence in them again, and they looked good. They looked the part on Friday, let's put it that way.
Yeah, and Hallettsville's not a bad team, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that was a matchup, too. I want to say that was a bi-district rematch. I want to say they played each other last year as well. So now Franklin's got Shepherd. School Vets, hey, they just won their second playoff game in school history, so they're riding high.
And Shepherd is not a new school.
Yeah,
they've been around the block. So, and by the way, Little River Academy, they beat Hitchcock last week across town at Consol. That is a huge development in that half of the bracket in 3A Division I Region 3. Okay, Hitchcock was a team that people thought maybe this is the year that Hitchcock makes a run to a state championship, and they don't even get out of round 1. And if Franklin takes care of business this week, which by the way they're a huge favorite, and I think it'd be dumb to pick against the Lions, they'll probably play Little River Academy, or they have a shot at playing Little River Academy, who they beat by 3 touchdowns in the regular season finale. So if the Lions just keep doing their thing, they're probably going to be in the region finals at a minimum, and they'll only have to play one of Columbus or Lorena. So, don't look too far ahead, but Franklin caught a pretty big break. Now they just need to take care of business.
Yeah, no kidding. Down in 2A level now, 2 more teams, Bremont, Lexington. Got to admit, folks, I was wrong. I wasn't wrong on the Bremont pick, but, man, I picked against Lexington.
We were all wrong on that one, man. We were all wrong.
Man.
Jake, I'm going to ask you
All
a
right,
question because in your column this week, okay, you talked to Coach Mole, which, by the way, I texted him for a story about Jared Kerr on Saturday because Jared Kerr was having a night. But, what did Coach Mole have to say about that win over Bowling? Because, I mean, none of us picked them to win.
Yeah. No, man, the first thing he said, I just straight up asked him, hey, how good does it feel to be playing one more week, Coach? And he said, man, we got the monkey off our back. Last couple of years, they've lost in bi-district. I think, I know, Andrew, you weren't here for this, but, last year, Alex, Lexington, they went 10-0. We all kind of thought, holy cow, man, this is a young team, but, man, they're legit. What are you going to do in the playoffs? And then, they lost in the bi-district round. So last 2-3 years, haven't gone their way. They got the first one out of the way. Now they just want to see where they can go. He said, hey, we offense a little inconsistent. They only won that game 14-7, but hey, man, our defense and special teams, they really carried the way. And he both him and Coach Kozlowski really harped on their defense. Here in the playoffs, they said, you need a strong defense, and both of them said, hey, we've got that right now. So if we can just keep it rolling, gonna have to rely on the defense. Obviously, Lexington wants a little bit more offensive consistency, but you got them or two. It's still a young team. I think he said they have no seniors on the offense, so a lot of juniors. I mean, heck, Case Evans is still just a sophomore.
Yeah.
I mean, he's already played a lot of football because of last year. He starter last year, starter again this year. So he's got a lot of football experience, but still a young guy. But, yeah, man, going to kind of probably have to lean on that defense. But if the offense can get clicking, I think we see him in the next round too.
Yeah, Odom's going to be a tough test. I think Bremon's going to pretty much breeze by Sabinal. They should win pretty big. And I think that would set up potentially a game against Falls City next week, wouldn't it?
Ooh, and that's who they lost to last year in the playoffs. So
yeah, they'll want to take care of business, maybe get a little bit of revenge. Hey, Centerville, they're gonna have a big battle against Honeygrove this week. This is a really hard game to pick, by the way. I could see it going either way. I'm rolling with the Tigers because. Look, if they play Timpson, I might think otherwise, but anybody else, it's hard to pick against Coach Hardy's team. Man, they're just nose the grind, they'll just wear you out. And they beat Honeygrove bad last year in the area round, by the way.
Man, now you got me thinking I might need to change my pick.
I don't know, Jake. You need to catch up, man. This is a big week in the picks because we got 9 teams left, and I think only 2 picks of. I think I've only got like 2 or 3 picks where I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure like Brazos Valley team's gonna win, like for sure. The others, it's like, I mean, they could win, but I'm not 100% sold. And I'm tied with Cease for first place. And I think it was the 3rd round last year where we finally got some second and third round was where we finally got some separation. So, gosh, I gotta beat him this year. I just gotta beat him. So if I pick against your team, don't take it personally. It's strictly business.
It's just business,
just like Corso says.
Well, we'll end it here with one of the teams I think we all have a lot of confidence in, and I know they have a lot of confidence in themselves. But St. Joseph Eagles, baby.
Yep, man.
They stayed perfect last week, still undefeated. Bracken Christian. I know Coach Castillejo said, hey, we just want to go 1-0, but hey, man, they've been going 1-0 every week so far. So
they got a lot of wins.
Excited. Yeah, no kidding. Now they get Fredericksburg Heritage. It's a team they lost to last year in the playoffs, I believe, by just 1 score. So hey, they've got a little bit of a revenge there. I gotta say, we've heard it all. People are probably tired of me talking about this. Me and Alex talking about this. Andrew talking about this on the podcast. But I think the Mark Mishler Jackson Carey show roll on this week, and they get it done.
Man, just like Centerville, it's gonna be hard to pick against St. Joe's. Man, they have got it going, and that 1-2 punch, it's real. Yeah. It's real. They're playmakers. They're studs, and hey, Heritage is a good team though. I mean, this is a team that consistently down at that 6-man level puts together good teams year in, year out. If St. Joe's gets a win over a team like Heritage, that's a good skin to put on the wall as you get a little closer to a state championship type game.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Heck, looking at the bracket, you win this one, you're going to the semifinals.
Yeah, there's only 2 more rounds after this for TAPS.
Yeah, I was gonna say. So, you're talking about putting the skins on the wall. Semifinal appearance, a lot on the line in this one. So, I mean, I don't think it'll be. I've got a lot of confidence in them. I think we all do. I think it might be a little closer though than It won't be a mercy rule like last week.
Yeah. Well, hey, I think that's all we got, man.
Yeah, wow. All right, look at that, folks. Hey, Alex will be back to hosting next week. But, hopefully...
Jake, you did fine.
Yeah, well, I kind of like this chair. Like, looking at it now.
You like this chair?
I do,
You like this chair?
I like sitting on that side.
Okay.
But thanks, everybody, for watching. I guess, do y'all know yet which games y'all are going to this week?
No.
I don't know.
Okay, never mind.
I think it may depend on some other stuff happening later in the week on where we go. So.
Well, check these guys on Twitter. They'll tell you where they're going. Check theeagle.com for our high school sports coverage. I think I'll be Friday, knock on wood. I think I'll be at volleyball with the Leon Lady Bulldogs if they take care of
Iola.
business.
The
Lady-
Iola.
Oh my God.
Iola
Wow.
Bulldogs.
Cut that out when editing, pal. Holy cow.
I don't know. We may keep
Yeah,
that
I'm
in.
definitely hosting next week.
Yeah,
We're
yeah.
keeping that in.
Oh,
Please
Jake.
don't. Well, anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you next week.